Why China distrusts America. It has been said by U.S. Vice President Joe Biden that the U.S. would only withdraw from the 2015 nuclear deal with Iran if Iran breaks the conditions of it. This agreement satisfies Iran's demand that the United States would not once again quit the agreement, as it did under President Trump in 2018. Biden made this pledge with Angela Merkel, Emmanuel Macron, and Boris Johnson at the G20 conference in Italy. According to the statement, we applaud President Biden's unequivocal determination to bring the U.S. back into full compliance with the agreement, and keep it there as long as Iran does likewise. Because the winner, hardliner Ibrahim Raisi, has refused to return until he deems Iran is ready, which is expected to be later this month, the discussions have been postponed. The three European nations obviously pressed Biden to rejoin the nuclear pact, something he had committed to do throughout his 2020 campaign. But since assuming office in January, Biden has broken his word and aggravated matters by insisting Iran terminate its regional meddling and abandon its ballistic missile development. Iran claims these are distinct concerns and has failed to comply. The G20 statement made no mention of this, suggesting that Germany, France, and the UK support Iran. Meanwhile, the administration of President Joe Biden has sought to shift the responsibility for the growing crisis over the Iran nuclear agreement from the Obama administration to Iran. A year after Trump pulled out of the agreement, Iran had to wait for other signatories to complete their obligations. The U.S. has a stranglehold on worldwide money and banking and has vowed to penalize any government, corporation, or person trading with Iran. In 2019, Iran started steadily violating the deal's uranium enrichment limitations, introducing prohibited upgraded centrifuges and limiting IAEA inspections. For Iran, the rules of the nuclear agreement enable it to violate its responsibilities if one or more of the signatories fails to satisfy their obligations. Fed up with Biden's delay tactics, Merkel, Macron, and Johnson pushed him to satisfy Iran's demands and rejoin the pact. Biden promptly issued an executive order to enter the Paris climate deal but merely promised to speak about Iran. Biden took the stupid council of appointees who thought the U.S. could push Iran into big concessions on regional issues and weapons development in return for U.S. re-entry and partial sanctions easing. The Biden administration levied further penalties on Iran and anybody interacting with Iran. Iranians now distrust Washington and the other signatories to the agreement. That included reducing its uranium enrichment to low levels, selling its stockpiles, storing modern centrifuges for processing uranium, and cooperating fully with UN inspection teams. No successor, moderate or hardline, would accept the concessions Biden demanded since they were not made while Iran's moderate President Hassan Rouhani was in power. If Biden had returned to the agreement sooner, a moderate may have won the June election. The accord is still on hold, despite Biden's repeated requests to return. According to Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian, there is no need for discussions and Biden should sign an executive order returning to the nuclear agreement and removing Trump's penalties. Iran would then comply. Plusieurs factors bolster Tehran's confidence. In Iran, the public blames the U.S. for the country's economic problems, shortage of medical supplies, and other necessities. Iran has concentrated on reviving its economy, growing regional influence, and advancing missile and drone programs. An oil contract worth $25 billion has been signed between Iran and China. Instead of waiting for the other signatories to the Iran nuclear deal to lift sanctions, Tehran has turned east.